might have, I'll just read through this. You might have seen it, but just as an help. So what we are focusing on in this training sessions will be the general ledger, payables, receivables, subledger accounting, cash management, fixed assets. Okay. And in this, we go through the setups as well as the transaction side. The setups is we do the rapid implementation method also, where we upload all the setups through our Excel sheets, and we also do go through the setups individually in the application, so that sometimes what happens is one or two of the setups have to be tinkered with, or some changes made, so the team is aware of what needs to, where to go to, and what needs to change, and how to go about changing all of that. Okay, so that's our focus. And in terms of our coverage, we'll be talking about the process flows in Fusion, order to cash, procure to pay, the flows. And the actual transactions, will be looking at the transactions in payables, invoices, payments, invoices and receipts, journals and posting, in receivables, ledger, and assets, creating assets, retiring assets. Then we'll be setting up the manual as well as the rapid implementation method. We'll be doing the setup using that. We'll be looking at the spreadsheet loaders, how we can load up invoices, how you can load your invoices in payables, how you can load journals in ledger through the spreadsheets. Okay. Then we also look at transfer from the transfer accounting transactions, right, from subledger to the ledger side. And we look at the full flow of accounting in Fusion. So that's the full coverage that we'll be doing in the application. Okay. And moving forward, usually what we do is, in these sessions, each of the sessions are recorded, videos are made available to all the participants for up to 1 year. The instance will also be available for any practice, any follow-on queries, any getting their hands dirty. So the team members, you and your team members, will have access to the instance, so all of you can go through that. Our training's focus is on the practical, and it's a complete hands-on approach. Okay, not much of theory, but just sufficient overview and understanding of the application, and then we go in and do the transactions one by one in the system. So that's our focus. So the training is aimed at implementation consultant role. As you know, in the implementation, in the ERP world, there are typically two roles: implementation consultant and a user, right? So our training is aimed at the implementation consultant, who needs to know the setups, who needs to know the transactions, who needs to know how to set up that application, the security part, and all of those things will be covered in the system. So our expectation is that after the class, participants will go back to the practices which will be shared with them. And once they do that, the participants will be able to work independently after on their own very soon. Okay. And just a little bit of details in terms of what we'll be covering. I So these are the individual items that we cover: configuration of the financial modules using both the manual setup as well as the rapid path, and the functional setup manager, implementation overview. Then we go through how we set up the enterprise structures, how we set up the legal entity, the enterprise legal entity, the business units, how do we set up the reference data set, then how do we configure each of the modules: general ledger, payables, taxes, Fusion, receivables. Okay. And how do we set up the flex fields in the application, wherever assets related key flex fields are required? How do we set up, how do we do the system controls, how do we define the fiscal calendars and years, how do we manage the asset locations, doing the depreciation rules, managing the asset books. So all of these things will be part and parcel of our application coverage. Okay, the full set of things that we'll be covering in our application training. Okay.
Yes, clear.
So if you have any specific questions, I could handle that. Or, if you want to talk about anything else,
No, move on, move on. I got the idea. It's the basic outline. I
okay,
understand. Obviously, in detail, we will be covering, but you can go ahead to complete at least the
correct.
PPT.
Okay. So these are, overall what the approach and how we are going to be doing all these application coverage in the system. And in terms of our application, you will be getting access to the application, which I will just let me pull up the details. So these applications you will be getting access not only during the training, but post the training as well. So that once you go, team goes back, they will be able to, have access to the entire thing, and they can practice on their own, or they want to check out something, they can check this out in the application.
Uh, Saurabh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. So you are opening any instance, or it's a still PPT?
Yes, I know. I'm just no. I'm opening the instance now. So this is the cloud environment which we'll be sharing regularly, and based
I
on
can't see your screen. It's only still PPT is appearing.
it might be taking a few minutes to. Okay. Is it visible yet?
No, still I can see it's a PPT is appearing.
Okay. I'll give it a few minutes. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to appear. Has it come?
No, sort of still it's same PPT. Can you stop sharing and reshare? Maybe it will work.
Okay, let me do that. So I stopped sharing. Has it
Okay.
stopped at your end?
Yeah, it is not displayed now.
Okay, I'll just share one more time.
Yeah, now I can see the instance.
Okay. So this is the user ID password, and then we log in. So from the application, we will be able to see, you know, which version of it is, and
Saurabh, you have you worked on SLA, SLM part?
yes, SLA actually what happens in finance nowadays, all the applications have to, all the subledger data has to flow through SLA and then into the ledger,
Mm-hmm.
right? So one has to be,
No, no, no. I'm saying because we have SLAM where we can modify the accounting events at
ledger.
certain
Yes,
points. So
yes,
did you experience in
yes,
Fusion this part?
yes. We do that. We did that. Yes,
Okay,
of
great,
course.
great. That would be very helpful. And
Yeah.
plus, you have already set up the BPM and different custom integration with third parties, right?
Custom integrations actually vary from implementation to implementation. Scope is always not the same. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that depends on what kind of integration is required and all that stuff. Usually there is a separate technical team that takes care of it, because nowadays the integration is all handled through web services. Okay. The
Correct.
traditional integration using PLSQL or that part is gone now. So it's more around web services and releasing the web services integration.
But at least you were involved in the integrations and you know the
Yeah,
flow
from
and
a yeah,
architecture.
I am absolutely, supposed to, give or discuss the impact on the functional side. What is the implications? What are the things
Yeah,
to do?
because why I'm asking this one, we have a lot of integrations and most because as you have already worked, it's a good thing. You have worked in the Gulf and you know the real estate business also. So a couple
Right.
of scenarios will be real time the industry practical scenario. So I hope
Okay.
you'll be well aware
Sure.
of those
Sure.
and
We
you can
can
answer
we
them
can talk about them.
conveniently. Yeah.
Sure. Sure. So
Okay,
as
please
you
go ahead.
yeah, so as you can see, this is 21A, so which is the latest version available from the Oracle stack. Okay, and on the front end, and it uses the ADF platform, middleware, and the database. So all the details are provided here. And from an application side, this is called as the Springboard. So from where you can actually go into different parts of the application based on your access level. So if a person has access to receivables, they will only see receivables part of it. If they have access to payables, they will see only payables part of it. So that, as you may have heard or read about it, the security model in Fusion has undergone a change, right? Earlier it was more user responsibility function. So now it's more role based. So based on the role that a user plays in the organization, they will get
Mhm.
access to different parts of the application. So you could have a payroll administrator or a payables manager
Mhm.
and a payables clerk and a payables
Mhm.
super user. So those would be
Mhm.
different roles who have access. So
Mhm.
similar roles, similar people will get access to the same. So this is the Springboard, and on the side you have the Navigator. So from the
Mhm.
Navigator and Springboard, you can move across the application.
Mhm.
And the other part of it is when you need to go into the setup and maintenance, which is the functional setup user, you can
Mhm.
go through the, it's, it's just refreshing.
Mhm. I think instance is a bit slow.
Yeah, these are all demo environments provided by Oracle. Okay. So time to time, and everybody, a lot of people tend to use it. So it tends to slow down. So you get the same set of options here that you see here. Sometimes it's a little more, so you can add or subtract things. Like here, you can see 4 items here, but when you look at the receivables on this Springboard, you will see only 3 options here. So if
Mhm.
required, you can add more options using the plus icon.
Mhm.
And on the side here, from here, you can go into the setup and maintenance also.
Mhm.
So, which is the functional setup manager.
Okay.
So when not everybody will be given access to the setup and maintenance, so that is also driven by the access uh, role
Mhm.
that is defined in the application.
Right.
So you can define who gets access to what.
Mhm. I think, Saurabh, it will take time. So I hope you will be showing me the basic, the setups and navigation role. So probably if we can move ahead with the training
Yeah,
sessions,
sure,
we can cover them in the
sure,
beginning
sure.
sessions.
Not a
So go
problem.
ahead
Not
to
a
just
problem.
complete the PPT and verbally you
Yeah.
can just tell.
No, I think on the PPT side, we are almost done with all the things that I had to share with you, you know.
Okay.
And since
Okay.
you already have a background, it helped, because a lot of people, who are new to Fusion, they tend to take a little more time to understand what are the things that will be covered and
Okay. I hope you will be covering the Delta part also, right? That what was in EBS and now alternatively what
yes,
is
yes,
in Fusion.
definitely,
So
definitely. Because that will be, the delta changes will help you and your team to understand, how you can give more value to your, team and the rest
mhm,
of the user fraternity
understand,
in the
understand.
organization.
Okay, and at the end, for example, I hope you're gonna provide the dumps also because we are more interested in the Oracle certification as well. So
Sure.
I hope you will
Whatever
be
is
having the latest
available, I
dumps.
can share that with you. They also tend to continuously upgrade and move, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, I understand. But I think you are already certified, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. So
and
we can
while
share
you are
that. Yeah.
regularly,
Whatever we have, we can share that. Not a problem.
mhm. So okay, well, it's all right. And where are you from? Like you're from Bangalore,
I'm actually based out of Kolkata.
Kolkata. Okay.
Yeah.